This week on Half Step Down, Jose exposes the secret to his marriage. Dude, she knows I'm an idiot. That's why it works. Renee admits he might be out of touch.
I haven't heard of a single soul.
And the boys get real about T Swift.
Unless you're Taylor Swift.
Unless you're Taylor Swift, because she's an unstoppable force of nature. Listen to the very end to hear Renee completely lose it. Half Step Down starts now.
I said, Jose, you seem to be. I would like to think that you are the better looking man in this duo of professional broadcasters.
I disagree.
Would you agree with me?
I disagree, man. I don't think I'm very good looking. I disagree.
So
We're not professional broadcasters.
Right before you hit record.
See, I set you up for two jokes.
Right before the show, you did. Right before the show, the reason I said that is because right before we started recording, Jose has this new haircut. He's looking fresh. We're getting our levels in, so I'm just saying random things. And I thought to myself, after talking about the show, welcome to Half Step Down, everyone. I'm Rene Grano. With me is my co-host Jose Martinez. This is a podcast where two aging punk rockers talk about popular culture and music. And the reason I say that is because we were talking about it, and I thought to myself, Jose's not a bad-looking guy, man. I would have to say between the two of us, he might be the better-looking one. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I disagree, man. You're a good-looking guy.
I appreciate that. I do have the face for radio. I've been told that quite often.
Well, I think we both are guilty of having the faces for radio, man.
Yeah, I think that's why we stick to podcasts.
Exactly.
Right, Jose. You know what I think is cool about the show is that you and I don't like to settle. We're not the kind of people that like to settle when it comes to our projects. You know what I mean? We like to hop to a different. We like to do things differently, and I feel like we've been doing this for the past weeks. We like to do things differently. So why don't you express or explain to the audience what we're doing today?
Today we're going to try something a little bit different. We have been playing with the show format since the beginning, kind of trying out new things when something just doesn't feel right. And we just kind of came to the conclusion that what we want to do is talk about music that we like to get people to listen to it, and just the other stuff that we love, which is basically all of pop culture, right? We were both pretty big nerds, movie buffs, video games, comic books, all that stuff. So why don't we just kind of cut to the chase and talk about that stuff? Because, we're online, we're seeing all the stuff that's going on, and just marry the two things we love together.
I agree with you. And it's funny because when we started talking about the new this concept, we figured, let's give it a shot. We started reading out articles and stuff to each other, like what are the kind of things we like to talk about. And I feel that every time we talked about the show, we'd end up talking for about an hour.
At least.
And sometimes I felt, man, we should have just recorded this phone conversation because that's probably what's going to end up happening anyways.
A long time ago when we were first kind of like figuring this out, I remember we were in my living room. My wife, Marta, was there, and we were just talking about like movies and stuff. She goes, "You guys should just record this." And I'm like, I guess you're right.
That. Yeah. I guess that's true.
Honey,
so
if you're listening, you were right. Sorry.
We have some interesting.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But honey, if you're listening, you were right.
You're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to have it recorded because then she can always come back to it. That's not good. Now, see, you're in the doghouse for the rest of your life.
Dude, she knows I'm an idiot. That's why it works.
That's why we would rather do this podcast together, so that way they don't have to call us idiots.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. There's actually a funny story about. I think I've talked. Never mind. I already talked about this story before. I actually talked about it during the ex-girlfriend episode where we went to dinner. We were a double date.
Oh yeah.
And because at the end of the day, we don't really look like each other, except for when we dress, when we wear the same uniform to work. But we tend to order the same food all the time, and so yeah.
We're meat and potatoes guys.
Yeah, yeah. When I was thinking about earlier this week about the worst drive-through employee we've ever experienced together.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. What was that?
That was that. Oh, you know what? Let's save that. Let's save that for the wind down.
Let's make that the wind down. I like that.
Yeah, let's make that wind down. Yeah. So we have some interesting topics. We have a lot of topics to get to today. So why don't we just jump into it?
All right, let's talk about this first thing. This first thing that popped out, man. The Grammy nominations for 2021 are out. The Grammy? God, I'm terrible at this.
The Grammy. Yeah.
Um, I think this is kind of playing to our strengths and weaknesses here, right? So I'm going through this list of nominations. I don't think I've heard any of these songs, with the exception.
Why don't we pick? Sorry. Why don't you just kind of name a category, and then we'll talk a little bit about.
All right. So let's
nominated.
see. Let's go to.
I would think we have to go to best rock album first, right?
I'm going to go to best rock performance first.
Okay.
Because if it weren't for the fact that you sent me a playlist with was it Phoebe Bridgers' Kyoto, I would not have heard any of these songs. Now I've been meaning to listen to the new Fiona Apple because I do like Fiona Apple, but I have not heard Big Thief. I have not heard Hi Am, Brittany Howard, or Grace Potter.
I haven't heard of a single soul.
The funny thing is, and I was going to talk to you about this, because the Grammys in and of themselves, any award show in and of itself is kind of a funny thing to me, right? Because I think I heard a comedian, I think it was Chris Hardwick a long time ago, talk about how when you make a competition out of this, it's kind of like anti the purpose of the thing. It's like you're winning at art. How does that work? And then, just in general, I feel like the Grammys have always kind of been out of touch with what is really long lasting. I think it's like an old like wives' tale, right? That the person that wins Best New Artist ends up kind of just disappearing after that.
Unless you're Taylor Swift.
Because she's an unstoppable force of nature.
Yeah, Phoebe Bridgers is great. I was introduced to Phoebe Bridgers. I think I was listening to some radio show on the internet. I don't even know what it was, but I remember they were talking about Phoebe Bridgers and how she's like the next big thing. Uh-huh. And I usually when it comes to things like that, I tend to take those with a pinch of salt, because I think everybody has their own. Everyone has their own knack for what they do, right? But I've been listening to Kyoto for quite some time now. I think it's a great song. So you never know. I mean, I haven't seen her perform. I just heard the song. It's kind of like Lana Del Rey, or I'm not saying that they're the same type of music, but like Lana Del Rey and what's that? Oh my gosh, I always forget her name now. She's on K-Rock and she's just
Billie Eilish,
18, 19 years old. Billie Eilish,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's dude, man, they can. Yeah, I'm not knocking on Billie Eilish, man. She has some pretty good hits, man. Some of them are pretty good, But it's just, yeah. So I think going back to the Grammy thing, I think that the Grammys are definitely. It's kind of like not really like the Oscars, but you're right. Music, I think, is a very difficult idea to say. We're gonna nominate this for best single of the year. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's other factors to nominating a song, but I would just assume that it must be difficult. But.
Well, you know what? And here's a little article I ran across like later, but The Weeknd, who we both recently discovered we kind of like his stuff.
Yeah, The Weeknd. I like how you said The Weeknd.
The Weeknd, because that's how it is. ND Weeknd. I'm just trying to trying to show that I can read.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I feel like you and I like to say Jay-Z. We say it the way we see it. We read it the way we see it, and then that's pronounced Jays.
Jays. He's Jays. That's how I say it. Jays.
Yeah, that's how I say it.
Sometimes the hyphen isn't there. So it's like a Jays.
It maybe the hyphen's silent. It's a silent hyphen.
Silent hyphen. Jesus Christ. Oh, man, Jinx.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's not a jinx because we're delayed.
That's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, The Weeknd snubbed apparently, and like sent out some like angry tweet, and I think some other singer, Halsey. Do you know who Halsey is?
I do not.
I've heard the name, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I read it. He's like, yeah, man, the Grammys need to be more open and transparent with how they pick who gets what. And I guess it's like a really secretive thing. I didn't know that about this. I thought like it was kind of out in the open, but he's very upset that he did not get nominated.
I would think out of all the award shows that choose music or movies, what have you, I would think that music is definitely the most narrow, because there's so much music out, there's so much content now. How can you really pick what the best is? That's kind of difficult. Maybe we should do that for next episode, is look into how I guess it's the committee, right? How these committees are the people that decide who's being nominated, choose these artists. I'm sure it's not also based on popularity, right?
I mean, it can't be, right? Because I know there have been, like, I know a couple stories like in the past, like the famous Metallica getting snubbed for that Grammy Award because Jethro Tull had an album out that year, and Jethro Tull won Best Metal Album, which nothing against Death Row Tull.
Death Row. I didn't.
Oh man, I think we just stumbled upon something amazing.
I think we're gonna start a Death Row Tull cover band.
Oh man.
All songs from the Death Row label. Everything that was produced by Suge Knight or created by Suge Knight, and we're just gonna do it in like a Jethro Tull style.
I'll go get my flute right now.
Oh god, Death Row Tull.
Death Row Tull.
Somebody needs to create a sticker for the podcast that says Death Row Tull.
If there's anybody out there that knows how to graphic design or draws, please draw that for us. I would really appreciate that.
The 7 people that listen to this.
Hey man, last time we had I think 17 unique downloads, so I think we're getting up there, man.
We're on our way up there, guys.
Our way.
Heck yeah, thank you. We appreciate that. That's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, so because maybe in the past you could talk about like an album being like an engineering achievement, like if it just sounded really good, but now you can make something sound really good just out of your bedroom, right? Like I think we talked about this, like Billie Eilish's whole album was recorded in her bedroom. She's from like LA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some of these go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say some of these I've never heard. I don't know what there's best rap performance and best melodic rap performance. What does that mean?
I would think melodic rap is just another way to say R&B.
See, best melodic rap performance: DaBaby featuring Roddy Ricch, Drake featuring Lil Durk, Anderson .Paak, who I know him. I like Anderson .Paak. Roddy Ricch and Travis Scott. But then there's also just
So melodic rap is artists like Drake who rap and sing, I guess, right?
Maybe, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. That's what, kind of like Beautiful with Snoop Dogg and Pharrell.
Okay,
you
yeah.
Know how Pharrell raps in the middle of the song?
Yes.
But it's not melodic, right? It's just he's singing.
Or he sings, he goes, beautiful. Yeah. He does that part.
Yeah. You kind of sounded like what's the other song that goes, "You're beautiful"?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember who that is, but I remember that song.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. Interesting, man. I'm gonna look into
John
this.
Mayer.
Is that John Mayer?
A John Mayer song?
No, that's not John Mayer.
No, that's not. That's Wonderland. That's Wonderland. Wonderland is the John Mayer.
Wonderland.
Yeah.
I think Wonderland.
We are horrible at this.
We're terrible, but that's okay.
Yeah. That's okay.
I think I actually remember reading. He like regretted writing Wonderland. He's just like, dude, this song was so corny as hell, but my God, I made a lot of money.
It's kind of like Hey There Delilah and Hey Soul Sister by Train. Like, I'm sure, that they were. I mean, those guys were just. You think of Hey There Delilah, Plain White Tees, and it's Hey There Delilah, and Train. You just think of Hey Soul Sister.
Yeah, I mean, honestly. The other day, I was actually out and I saw a guy in a Train shirt, and I thought of you. I was like, dude, yeah, you were at the world tour.
Because I am a huge Train fan.
We all know.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm really not though.
Best contemporary Christian music album, Kanye West for Jesus is King. Huh.
Can I
Interesting.
just tell you that I've typed in the word beautiful on Spotify,
Huh?
and you get Sean Kingston,
Okay.
you get Snoop Dogg, you get Eminem, you got Christina Aguilera, you have Akon. I cannot find the version of song that I'm looking for. You have 311
You're Beautiful
with Beautiful Disaster.
by James Blunt.
Thank you.
Because it's not beautiful, it's You're Beautiful.
You're beautiful, that's why. Okay. Sorry, so you were talking about
I'm just
best
looking
Christian record.
best Christian contemporary album.
Ah.
Is it best? And yeah, man, we got Kanye West up on there.
Did you vote for Kanye this year?
Of course. Who else would I have voted for?
You saw him on the ballot.
I saw him on the ballot
And
and
you're
I
like,
said,
I have to vote for.
this guy is gonna fix it. If there's anyone else that can fix it, it's the guy that wrote Workout Part 2 or whatever that song was.
Yeah.
He wrote Through the Wire, man. Come on. And he sang it through
Yeah.
his teeth were shut. Right? Wasn't that the whole thing?
Through the Wire.
Through the Wire.
Yeah, that was the idea. Yeah.
That was a pretty good song, though.
I was drinking water, guys.
No,
yeah,
I was gonna say.
that was a good song.
And that's the thing. Like, I can't hate on Kanye West. I really like a lot of his stuff. I just think he just must be surrounded by a bunch of guys who are like, yeah, man, that's great. Yeah, just keep doing that.
Kind of sounds like our president now.
Kind of a little bit. Yeah, right?
Kind of a little bit.
Everyone's nervous around him all the time, looking around.
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Whatever
sir.
you need.
Absolutely. Yeah, drop that hit. Drop that hit.
Drop it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I always go back to The Simpsons, where the Simpsons movie,
Right.
when they give the 5 different plans to the president, he goes number 3. He's like,
yeah.
Don't you want to see the? I was elected to lead, not to read.
Yeah.
Number 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Gosh. We did stumble upon a couple other topics that we wanted to touch up on. Right?
Yeah, let's move on from the Grammys because I think at the end of the day, like it's nice to know they're there, but I don't think we really care.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever bought an album that says, "Oh my gosh, this album has won 7 Grammys. I'm in. Let me buy this."
With the exception of that one Santana album that won all the Supernatural.
Isn't it so funny? That's exactly what I was going to. Yeah, I didn't go by Supernatural because it won 17 Grammys.
Yeah, I think it won 17 Grammys because you went out and bought it.
Same for Titanic, I guess. I mean, it won like 57 Oscars or something.
Yeah, but then so for sometimes that like happens on like didn't the Return of the King won like everything, right?
Yeah. Well, I remember Titanic. I remember this because at the time when we had to purchase the movie, it was on 2 VHS tapes, right? It was like a double tape.
I remember 2 VHS.
And on the back, and on the back it had like the amount it must have been like 13. I don't remember the number, but you scroll through and everybody was talking about the fact that no one talked about the fact that it won 13, or let's just say it won 13 Oscars. No one talked about the fact that it won 13 Oscars, but the fact that it didn't win Best Actor or Best Actress in this film is the fact that that's what everybody was talking about. It's like, how do you win all of these things and Leo doesn't win Best Actor or Kate Winslet doesn't win Best Actress?
Yeah, and you know what? That was a long time, right? It wasn't until, was it Revenant when he finally won Best Actor?
Yeah, it was The Revenant. Yeah.
I felt so.
He should have won for Wolf. He should have won for Wolf of Wall Street. He should have won for Django Unchained. He should have won for The Departed. That dude's amazing.
I mean, the dude can act. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But Jose, who's everybody's favorite actor, though? It can't be Leonardo DiCaprio.
No,
right?
it's Tom Hanks.
That's right.
Tom Hanks, everyone's favorite actor.
That's right. That's right. No, not everybody loves The Wolf of Wall Street. Not everybody's going to watch The Wolf of Wall Street, right?
When I was working at a real estate office, there was this old lady who went to see Wolf of Wall Street. She went to see a movie every week. That was her thing. And then she would like talk to the secretary about it. And she was just infuriated because she loved Scorsese. But she's like,
yeah,
that movie was basically pornography. I don't understand how he could make such a raunchy movie. And I remember, like, I hadn't seen the movie yet, and when I finally saw him, like, oh, that's kind of the point. This guy led this lifestyle that was like so over the top that it was like, that's the point, lady. Don't you know?
Yeah.
But by that time, I had quit working there.
I love that movie.
It's great.
That movie might be in my top 5 now, honestly, because I can quote that movie all the time. Then again, I always quote that movie just randomly.
I mean, it's a good one. It is definitely one of. Oh man, I don't know. I was about to say it's probably one of Scorsese's best, but Scorsese has so many good movies. But it's definitely up there.
Yeah, it's funny. My favorite Scorsese movies are The Departed and The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, interesting. I'd have to say my favorite is Goodfellas. I'm gonna go with the standard answer.
Yeah, classic, right? Standard, but I don't know, man. Something about The Departed. I love that movie.
It's a good one.
Something about a singer turned actor just makes me happy to see Marky Mark. Something about seeing Dirk Diggler as a cop just you know.
Well, Dirk Diggler played cops in the movies he was in, right?
Just makes me happy. Damn, that's right. Yeah, that's what I said. Dude. That's why I love anytime Dirk Diggler plays a cop, I'm in.
Oh man. He's got the touch, man. He's got the power.
Sir. He's
oh man.
Feel,
that's the other one.
Feel my heat.
Feel my heat.
Were we rolling on that?
My favorite part of that thing, that whole is when is John C. Reilly in the background when the guy's like when Dirk Diggler's like, you think the bass is taken away from the vocals? And they cut to the shot of the producer, and then John C. Reilly just gives him this look and just nods like, "Yep." It's him in the background, just like, "Yeah,
yeah." I love when he when Dirk Diggler's in the sound booth and he's recording, and then you just see John C. Reilly in the background of the producer, just like getting it, dude. He's loving it. This is the best. Yeah, I love that movie. That's such a good movie.
That is a great. Oh man. Underrated and like not nearly talked about enough, I think.
Yeah, with the late Burt Reynolds.
Oh yeah, doing a really serious role too, man. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I just read a thing. Real quick. Josh Freese, the drummer from the Vandals, he was in the Replacements for a little while when they were on SNL. I just saw this because it was like the anniversary when it happened. In one of the songs they played, I don't remember the whole story, but there's a part where the song pauses, and they told Josh Freese just to yell whatever was on your mind, and Josh Freese yelled Burt Reynolds, just really loud. And then it just moved on.
What was the last time you seen an SNL show?
Live?
Like a full episode of SNL?
Oh man, years. Because you gotta remember, I'm a cord cutter, man. I don't even have an antenna, so I have to do everything online.
Yeah, I saw the Eddie Murphy one, Adam Sandler, Dave Chappelle. Those are the ones that I saw last. But before all that, I had seen the 40th anniversary one. That was just unbearable.
Yeah. I mean, SNL, they've been doing some good stuff, right? Like when Trump, they really were like hitting it out of the park with some of those skits, but it's still like that's super topical. But I guess SNL is super topical, right? It's like the whole point of that show.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man. All right, let's talk about this. Guitar Center files for bankruptcy.
Yeah, when you told me that, I thought to myself, man, that's really? But I think that's common, right? It's just so common for companies like that to file for bankruptcy.
Honestly, I'm surprised they went as long as they did, because I know that place was not run very well. Yeah, man. I felt we would talk about it because I think we've talked about in past episodes. We're musicians, and there's nothing quite funner for a musician to go to a music store and just mess around And Guitar Center was basically like Disneyland for me. I would go in and play all the drum sets I couldn't afford. But I just found it funny. Maybe it'll completely turn them around and they'll do a lot better.
Did you say funner?
Did I say funner? I probably did.
Yeah. Okay. Just double
I
checking.
did. So there's nothing funner for a musician than going in and playing with gear.
That sounds like a double negative.
Probably. But you know, this is a free podcast. I'm not
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not writing an essay here.
That's true. Do you remember when I had asked you? I said, "Man," I said, I was wondering if you can help me finish this." I think you had told me I was writing an essay on World War II, and I said, "Hey, man," I said, "Can you go over this real quick for me? Like, just tell me if I'm missing anything." You're like, "Dude," I said, and you said, "You know what, bro?" I said, "Let me fill in the things that I think you need." I said, "Cool, thank you, man. I appreciate that." You did a handful of things, right? And after you gave it to me, like both of us writing this thing together, it sounded amazing. I was like, "Man, this sounds so good." Granted, I have to remind the audience I don't see very well, right? So that's why I ask Jose more often than not to proofread my papers or vice versa or whatever it is. And when I turned it in, he gave me my paper back, and it was just an F. Just a complete F. And I said, "What the heck? Like, how did I get an F on this paper? Like, it's good. You know, it's very articulate. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very good paper." And then he goes, "Your grammar." And I was like, "What? Wait a minute. The grammar's off, dude. The whole thing was one long sentence of thing." It's like one long sentence, like no capitals at all. Nowhere to be found.
Grammar stuff, man.
It was really funny. I was like, "Jose, I appreciate the help, dude. You have no idea." But that was my fault for not proofreading his proofread.
Yeah, I remember that because I typed it at work and I was like in the middle of doing something else. I'm like, and I remember telling you, "Please proofread this," because I just had to get these ideas on paper.
Yeah. So that was my fault completely. But I remember I called this a dude, I got an F. Hey, like, what? I said, "I forgot to proofread it, bro. Sorry." You felt so bad. I was like, "It's not your fault, dude. It was my fault." Thank you for helping me, by the way.
No problem.
That was really awesome of you.
No problem.
Just remember, I got to proofread his proofreads now.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that. No, I've done that a million times. Marta's had to go through and proofread, and then she'll tell me like, "Make sure you reread this," because she'll like be multitasking, and it's like, yeah, man, you always have to have a couple of fresh set of eyes look at something when you turn it in.
I agree. Absolutely agree. So back to the Guitar Center thing. You know, you walk in there sometimes. Like, I walk into Guitar Center sometimes, and there's been a handful of times where I walk in and there's nobody around to help me. Oh, yeah. I'm like, "Dude, what's?" And I'm like, "I'm leaving." Like, it just frustrates me. But as a musician, that's the space to go to, right? You have to go to Guitar Center to get what you need. And sometimes I feel like and I feel that Guitar Center, maybe I might be wrong, but I feel that the internet, online shopping, I don't know if it's really affected music stores. And by that, it's because you can't test something. You can't test an instrument on the internet. You know what I mean? You can't. So I feel that it is going to turn this company. I hope it turns it around. Maybe I don't know if bankruptcy is going to help with their customer service sometimes, but.
Well, I think Guitar Center had the problem is they just expanded so fast.
So fast.
There were just so many like that opened in a couple of years. But I definitely like I've done this. I've gone to Guitar Center to try something, and then I go home and order it on Sweetwater. Because Sweetwater usually has their prices are really competitive. They'll price match stuff, and then they usually like send you little extras. And if you have any problems, like you can call them. I could never imagine asking a guy at Guitar Center for tech support because the guy's either going to be like an expert or some kid that they just hired. You know what I mean? Because I've run into plenty of kids who are like trying to sell me on something. Like they're trying to turn on their salesman. And it's like, "Dude, I play guitar. You're not going to sell me on a thing. Like I know what I'm looking for." Or like I'm playing drums. Like you can't sell me on something because I know what it is I want. I'm just trying to find it in these instruments.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I actually had I had a bad experience at Guitar Center the last time I bought a guitar. I don't know if you remember, but I ended up picking up a thin line, which is for you musicians. It's a Fender Telecaster, but instead of having the single pickup, and the humbucker, the metal plate humbucker has two of them. But the most thing what makes it unique, aside from the two humbuckers, is the steel plate humbuckers, is that it's a hollow body and it has an F hole on top, so you can play. I always wanted that guitar because I feel that the maple neck, because it's usually made from maple, I've always been a fan of smooth maple and not a gloss over. And so when I finally bought it, I brought it home, and I didn't realize that there was like I don't see very well. So I had brought it home and I started kind of messing with it. And like a day later, I'm like, dude, there's like a huge chip. I don't know if I showed it to you when you came over that one day, but it had like a huge chip on the bottom of the body stock. And I was like, what the heck? Like, what is this? And then I look, and the nut on the head, it was the nut was like loose, and it was buzzing the entire guitar. So I took it back in. I said, hey man, like this isn't what I wanted, bro. Like this is the guitar that I wanted, but you gave it to me essentially broken. And he goes, I'm gonna send it to my guitar tech. I was okay. So he takes it to the guitar tech, goes, hey man, the guy's just gonna hammer down the nut for you. And I'm just like, you know what, bro? I said, just return this guitar. I'm getting something different. And I'm glad I did, because I ended up picking up the modern player, and I ended up when I gave it I ended up changing one of the single coils. So that was always cool. So I'm happy with what I got, but I mean, I'm still looking to get myself a thin line at some point.
Those thin lines are nice, man. A good, it's got that semi-hollow. You can get all sorts of cool like features on it. Fenders are really cool because they're like customizable, right? Like you can always change stuff out. That's what I like about them. Can't go wrong with the Telecaster.
They're great. No, you really can't. Yeah. I'd love to get myself like a standard Telecaster too. That'd be great.
I've always had a soft spot for a butterscotch telly, like Mauricio, dude. My uncle, he plays in a band. He has a 52 Telecaster, and it's nice, like the 52 reissue.
That's awesome.
I have actually a Telecaster neck in my garage.
Really?
That I got, and my next project is to get a body for it and like kind of make a parts caster out of it. I want to. Many years ago, I fell in love with a Telsonic. I don't know if you remember those. Its most famous appearance is Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan. The guitar she's holding is a Telsonic.
Yes, Telsonics. Okay,
it's basically a Telecaster with two Dynasonic single coils. And I love the way it sounded. But I couldn't afford it. I was in high school. And now they go for a lot of money because they don't make them anymore. So I just want to get a body and carve out 2 holes for the Dynasonics and do it. I might even put a Bigsby on it just because I want to get adventurous.
Yeah. Well, you can't get any more adventurous than that. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't know why that was so funny to me.
I remember just looking at you like, what? Like, I guess.
You know what else?
How do you respond? Well, you can't get any more adventurous than that, Jose.
Can't get any more adventurous than
You can jump off a building, or you can fly over the Atlantic in 30 days. But I'll tell you something: you can't get any more adventurous than switching a single coil.
Just
that's my impression of Conan O'Brien, by the way, because I feel like Conan O'Brien reacts to things like that. So that was my god-awful impression of Conan O'Brien.
That was actually pretty good.
Thank you.
I hear it now. Yes.
I love Conan. Yeah.
Conan's the best.
Yeah.
Hey,
what else? Go ahead.
Well, we'll get to this last thing, but let's talk about this. I don't know about you. I'm super excited for Cyberpunk 2077. This is a video game that's coming out for all you nerds. But I wanted to ask you about this, right? Because in this particular game, obviously it takes place in the year 2077. And I realized as I did a little research on the game that one of the main characters is a musician. The Keanu Reeves, all the memes that are coming out, because he's playing a Johnny Silverhand, who's like a rocker in that future. But I always thought it's a really weird line for any movie, video game, book, TV show that's set in the future to kind of skirt that line for popular culture at the time. Because if you remember 2020, I don't think anyone would have thought that the big thing in music would have been Korean pop. I think if you had said in 1990 that 2020, what's music going to sound like? We would have been all about like techno or EDM or whatever the hell it was, not crazy Korean pop stars dancing provocatively.
That got shunned at the Grammys too. Was K-pop?
You know what? They did get one Grammy now. I saw BTS on there, somewhere on here.
Okay.
Those guys sold out the Rose Bowl.
That's one good enough.
Twice.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Jesus.
Wow, that's insane. So we talked about this before, and you had mentioned something really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What is the only movie that to you that you remember reminds you of like a soundtrack that gives you a soundtrack in the future?
Okay,
because that's really difficult to do, right?
Yeah.
Is a future movie,
mm-hmm.
like for example, Back to the Future Part 2 didn't do that.
Yeah, and
right? They didn't do that, and
I was going to use this example. What normally happens is if they're going to set a scene in the future, and you're going to go to a nightclub where music is going to be playing, it'll be what Back to the Future 2 did. They'll be like, go into Cafe 80s. It's a retro bar, so that they can just be like, oh, it's just music from the 80s.
Yeah.
Right? But the only time I remember, and maybe I just don't remember because I'm tired all the time because I got 2 kids, but for whatever reason, I remember a scene in the movie Pluto Nash, which if you guys don't remember, I don't blame you because it was terrible. Where he's in a nightclub, and I think it was like an Outkast song, but with like all sorts of just weird sounds in it. And people were doing these weird choreographed dances, and it was just terrible. But it's the only time I remember like, oh, they made it seem like that was the hot thing in whatever year Pluto Nash took place in. Yeah. For the audience, Renee's headphones just snapped onto his head. And I think got caught in his glasses.
It's not the first time it's happened either.
Oh my god.
For the audience, if you guys ever want to give the less handsomer co-star of the Half Step Down podcast, I would recommend you get me headphones. I just got to go get myself some new headphones. The thing with men, the thing with us is that we tend to hold on to things until they absolutely fall apart.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm not just talking about headphones, our t-shirts, our socks, our, anything that we have that we own. I wait until it falls apart for me to say, I think it's time for a new.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have a t-shirt that I don't wear it anymore, but I still have it in my closet. I have a t-shirt from 2009.
Okay, I got you beat. I got one from 1999.
But you don't wear it anymore, do you?
I do.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
What shirt is it?
It's the Depeche Mode, the tour shirt from '99 when they were doing their singles tour.
We should wear our shirts one day just to piss our significant others off.
So when the pandemic started and we were all stay at home back in March, on my Instagram story, I did, because I have a ridiculous amount of t-shirts, more t-shirts than I am comfortable saying.
Kind of like Marta with shoes.
What happened? It's kind of like Marta with shoes.
Kind of like Marta. Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, dude, I'm going to do it. I'm going to wear every single shirt in a row. And I'm going to put it on Instagram. And it was like a solid 3 months of shirts. And for Depeche Mode, I'm like, this, I remember posting because a couple of people were like, this shirt is old enough to drink.
That's true.
Yeah.
How do it's funny when people say, yeah, I got a 1987 Datsun or something like that. You're like, wow, like, or a 1995 Toyota Camry. It's like, wow, I'm older than that car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When it's not considered a classic. What are considered classics now?
I mean, you look, some of those like import tuner cars, like those Integras, I guess you would still you would consider those classics in certain circles.
Like I had a 95 Buick Century. Is that a classic?
I have no idea. I'm not a car guy. I know what cars I like.
Those are 25. That's a 25-year-old car. So I was just wondering if that would be considered a classic.
I think 20 years is considered vintage already. Once you get to 20 years, it's considered a vintage. Let me find out. Let's see what the internet says. When is something vintage?
When is something vintage?
When is something vintage? According to
I
most
wonder.
experts, the term vintage refers to items that is at least 50 years old but less than 100. So never mind. I was way off.
Ah, okay. So what is classic?
When is something classic? Let's see. When is
when is something classic? Yeah, because vintage and classic are totally different.
Something is classic. And the time frame is usually 25 years. The popularity
so then my 1995 Buick Century is considered a classic car.
Yeah, classic car.
Wow. So I've only driven classic car, well, up until my new Camry, but I had a 1993 Corolla.
Nice.
Which is now a classic car.
Right.
And I drove a 95 Buick Century, which is not now a car. And I felt like an old man every time I drove that Century because that thing was huge. Do you remember that thing? That thing was a boat.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing was a boat.
Yeah, nothing like a good Buick.
Yeah, nothing like a good Buick, said my 87-year-old grandmother.
Oh, man.
So the movie that you're referring to, Pluto Nash, does that star Norbert's Eddie Murphy?
It stars Norbert's Eddie Murphy, man. In that phase in his career when he was basically just making movies and not doing stand-up, man. It almost felt like he was like, I'm going to take any movie you want me to do. I'm just going to do it.
It kind of feels that way. Like, I would think, let's do something great. Let's do something fun right now. While I'm speaking, why don't you look up Eddie Murphy's movie list of titles of movies that he was in, and let's go through a couple of them and see if, like, how many bad movies did he do compared to good movies.
That's a good one.
And we can't include let's not include the 80s because that was his heyday.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, after his heyday, how many good movies did he do compared to bad
movies? All right, so
movies?
we're gonna stop at 1990 with another 48 hours, and let's start to 92. Boomerang.
Okay, that was good.
Never saw it. To be completely honest, The Distinguished Gentleman.
No, never saw it.
Beverly Hills Cop 3.
I never saw the third one.
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Seen the cover, never watched it.
It was directed by Wes Craven. I got to check that out now. The Nutty Professor.
Oh, one of the best.
It's great.
Classic.
That's
I love
a good
that
one.
movie.
That's a good one. Metro.
I feel like that's underrated nowadays. Not too many people talk about that movie anymore.
I don't know if it aged well. I haven't seen it in a long time. Might be worth checking out. Might have to do that. Metro.
Never watched it.
Never watched. Mulan. He was Mushu.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a voice actor. That doesn't count.
Does it count? Okay. Dr. Dolittle. Ooh.
Oh, man, that's when he went into... Well, Mulan is when he went into the kid stage. Is that when he became a father? Or is that when his kids became old enough to notice that their dad does dirty movies or, like, rated R movies or something?
And that's why Ice Cube did all those family comedies. Right? Yeah, my kid needs to be able to watch something I'm in.
Yeah.
Same reason that Robert Rodriguez did all those Spy Kids movies.
Yeah.
Those
would make pretty good, though.
Well, that was his whole thing. He's like, I'd like to make movies that, my kids could watch that I think are cool. And he would make like one for him and one for his kids.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Ready? Holy Man.
Oh, God. That was bad.
I don't even remember it, but it stars Jeff Goldblum as well. Life.
That was a great movie.
It's got.
Did you ever see Life?
No, and is Martin Lawrence too?
Martin Lawrence, Bernie Mac. Oh, yeah, okay. It's a great movie.
I might check that out.
You never seen that one?
I haven't.
By the way, I don't know if I'm sure the audience heard you, but I did you just go woo? Woo?
Yeah,
did you just Ric Flair me right now?
Okay. I Ric Flair a lot.
Okay, I love Ric Flair. How can you go wrong?
You can't
with Ric Flair. He's the best, the GOAT.
Nutty Professor 2.
So can I give you a quick synopsis of what the Nutty Professor 2 is about? Because I know you've never seen this movie because we talked about this.
Yes.
The Nutty Professor 2 goes like this. Sherman Klump is getting married to Janet Jackson. Okay. He starts to react in the way Buddy Love would act. So like out there, outrageous, right? The thinner version of Professor Klump, right? So they find out that the DNA strand within Professor Clump that is Buddy Love's DNA. So they have to extract it from him. Okay, so he turns into like this goo. There's like this plasma that they pull out of Professor Clump, and then the only way this plasma can form into an actual human is if it gets contact with another strand of DNA. And for some reason, it just happens. This dog happens to scratch himself, and a hair lands in this plasma, and Buddy Love comes back, right? But the problem is that he has like these dog instincts. So like he'll see like a French poodle, and he's just like immediately turned on by seeing this French poodle. And like when he wants to take a leak, he'll go pee in a plant or something like that. That is the premise of the Clumps.
And there you go. That's there. You know what I mean? That's sometimes movies get made, and you're just kind of like, wow, I don't understand how that happened, but that's okay.
Sometimes I feel that movies would be better as books. Like, I think that movie would be better if it was a book, because I feel like the premise is kind of outrageous. That they're like, if we can make this into, like, that sounds like something a fan wrote about the Ninja Professor too. That sounds like fan fiction that somebody wrote. They're like, dude, I like this. Let's just put this together. Kind of like Adventure Time, right? But Adventure Time did it right.
Well, Adventure Time was, Adventure Time is that's a whole different thing. But to where you're going with this, did you know that there is a sequel to Forrest Gump?
No, I didn't know that.
There is a sequel that was only a book. It's called Gump and Co. And I remember it being, I never read it, but I remember people talking about it. And it's the kind of thing where it totally jumped the shark. And was just this kind of like ridiculous. I think he went into space or something like outlandish and crazy. The
only person that can go to outer space is the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah, that's how you end an ad campaign. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier this week, and yeah, that's how you. Not many people. I don't even remember another ad campaign that said, "Hey, let's finish this correctly." Right. You know what I mean? Like, there's no ending to anything.
Exactly. You don't explain what happened to the other two chefs on Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They're just gone.
Yeah, exactly. They're just out there.
They're just done.
They're gone. Bye. Yeah.
I'm all right. We're gonna rapid fire these last list of movies real quick. You just give me the yay or the nay. All right? Bowfinger.
Sounds good. Yay! Absolutely.
Steve Martin.
Yeah, love that movie. You never seen that? It's great.
I don't think I have. Shrek. Great. Can't go wrong. Shrek.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. It's an animated movie though. That doesn't count.
That's true. Dr. Dolittle.
2. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, no, I don't know. Never
Showtime.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's got De Niro. We don't know.
Oh, is that when they're cops? Oh no, when they're actors.
I think they're actors.
Playing in a movie or something. Yeah. Okay.
The Adventures of Pluto Nash. I'll leave it at that.
Favorite movie? Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. I Spy.
Never seen it.
Daddy Daycare.
Never watched it.
The Haunted Mansion.
Never watched it.
And okay, so here's where you're starting to get some stuff that it's kind of, so Dreamgirls. He was in Dreamgirls. Okay. Then you got Norbert.
Oh, Norbert. I thought it was Norbit. Yeah, Norbert.
Oh, Norbit. You're right. Norbit.
Yeah, sorry.
Meet Dave.
Never seen it. That looks interesting though, but I never seen that one.
Imagine that.
Never seen it before.
Tower Heist.
Never seen it before.
1,000 Words.
Never seen it.
I remember the premise of this, but we'll move on. Mr. Church.
No.
And I think now we're starting to see the resurgence. Dolomite Is My Name. I've heard is amazing.
Okay.
And then Coming to America. Is this another one? Are they making a sequel?
Yeah, he's making a sequel.
Oh,
yeah, they're making a sequel to Coming to America. Yeah.
So, I mean, you go through that phase. It was the 90s, the early 2000s. I'm sure Korn's not proud of all their work. Right?
I'm sure they're not. That band was just a mess, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
All right, let's rapid fire for you these last couple things. Elon Musk, now the second richest person in the world. We had talked about this. What do you think Elon Musk listens to? What do you think is on his playlists?
I forgot what I said. What is Elon? What is Elon Musk listening to actually? I think we just asked each other this, right? I don't think we talked about what he actually listens to.
Yeah, I can't think of what
Yeah.
he listens.
I can't think of a thing of what he will listen to. What do rich people listen to? Classical music? What do you think he listens to something classical when he's like showering or going to sleep or like in the gym? Because I feel like rich people do that.
I think it's like an old school kind of like, rich people are just really hoity-toity, but
yeah.
I mean, I know when he was on Joe Rogan, he smoked a massive, it was like a blunt. He was just like, he was on there with him. I'm sure you know what? I mean, I think he's supposed to be like the cool millionaire, so I don't know what he listens to. I could not imagine having that much money, man.
Seal?
Probably just listens to Seal.
Yeah.
Seal's the people's music, though, man. Everyone listens
you know what? Maybe he listens to some disco.
You think so?
Yeah, maybe some disco.
Let me see. Elon Musk favorite music. Let's see. Okay. It's actually a Google search result. Let's see. What kind of music does Elon Musk listen to? This is on a Quora. Let's see. This is best answered interview.
Oh, on a Quora page?
It's on a Quora page.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And this isn't the best answer, but in an interview Elon did with Aeon, there was a tidbit in the office, mixing the clean room jumpsuits and EDM soundtrack, and the place felt like Santa's works. So maybe he listens to EDM. According to a longtime fan, he's a big fan of Weird Al Yankovic, but who isn't?
That's true.
He likes a little Trans-Siberian.
Who doesn't love Weird Al?
He who is bored with Weird Al is bored with life. Homer J. Simpson.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what he does. He's a weirdo, man. He's just definitely a weirdo.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you'd have to be the second richest person in the world.
Is Bill Gates still the richest person in the world?
Oh, no, I think he's down to like 5. It's Jeff Bezos, man.
Who's the richest person? Oh, Jeff Bezos. That's right. Yeah. God, that dude, kudos to creating a revolution in Amazon.
I mean, come on, like the guy owns everything. He's putting, I honestly think, you had asked, but I do think, online, definitely hurt like Guitar Center and stuff like that because Amazon is so easy. Can I give you a weird Amazon story? This kind of just blew my mind. This must mean they have so much money, or they know that me and my wife buy so much from Amazon. But it was maybe last year we bought a small mini freezer for our garage, just to store food for long term. Mm-hmm. We get the freezer, we open it up, and there's a massive scratch on it. Like this huge thing across the front of it. And like we return stuff to Amazon all the time, and it's pretty easy. But we're like, dude, I'm not gonna load this thing up and take it. Like I had gotten rid of my truck already. So we call Amazon customer service, and we explain to them the situation. And the lady on the phone was like, look, we aren't gonna pick it up, but we're gonna give you your money back. And we were like, okay, but then what do you want us to do with the fridge? She's like, I don't think you understand. We're not going to pick it up, but we will give you a refund. What do you want us to do with the freezer? She's like, I'm not telling you. You can discard it, but we're not going to pick it up. Do with it what you will. Wink, wink, like on the phone. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, we just get to keep like an almost $300 item. Like,
yeah.
And that's happened that's happened to me on smaller things, like a cable was busted or whatever. Like if I get a package of like 3 USB cables, one was like broken, and they're like, we'll just refund you money, keep them. Because I think it costs them more money to ship it back than you know what I mean?
I would think so. Yeah,
but it's just kind of like, damn, man, I figured a $300 item, no, they're just like, whatever, just keep it. Now, maybe that's because they look at your records and be like, dude, these people buy everything from us and we want to keep them happy.
Yeah,
but
could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah.
But I was just in shock.
Maybe
I'm like, all right.
maybe you're an influencer. You don't even know it, Jose.
Maybe I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you got to take that influence over to the podcast room.
That's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna take over the podcast.
And that's what we're
realm
doing.
one at a time.
We are taking over one listener at a time.
Definitely one at a time.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we're probably gonna. If we can hit 20 downloads by the end of the year, I would be the happiest dude in the world.
It is December, man. Let's go 20 downloads
by this.
Let's go by Valentine's Day. Let's give us Valentine's Day.
Okay, I guess you're gonna give us a little leeway.
A little bit of leeway.
Well, yeah,
here.
we're just enough. I just realized we're out of fiscal year, so our fiscal year starts in February.
There
so
you
smart
go.
Man. You're
there
a smart
you go.
man, because that's when we decided to do the podcast.
Exactly. Always
ningenuity.
All right, let's get through these last couple things, and then let's get to the playlist, man, because we're running at to an hour. So Bayside has a new acoustic EP out. I know we've talked about Bayside on the on the show before. Renee, you said that this is like a series of EPs they've been doing?
They did the first one in the mid 2000s, and then they had just released one, I want to say about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, called Acoustic 2. And so these guys, if you guys ever look at their catalog, they have a lot of albums out there.
Mm-hmm.
They are a very consistent band since 2002. You know, they're very consistent. So I'm really excited. It's because what I enjoy about Bass is they're a very heavy band. You know what I mean? And to see, but they're very good acoustic band as well. So I'm really excited to hear what they're going to do because if you think about it, if you make 2 acoustic EPs and you have 10 records, right? Let's just say, let's find out how many records Bayside actually has aside from the acoustic EP. Let me double check that. But aside from that, if you have like this huge array of just songs, like how, you know what I mean? Like you can make probably 6 or 7 and still have room to do more, but they do good work. I mean, it's not going to be a sloppy job. So I'm excited for this.
And one of the cool things that I read is the video that they put out for one of the songs from the EP is all fan shot.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, because of COVID, right? I mean, they have to, it's social distance. They have to stay home and stuff. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
And they have 8 studio albums.
8 studio albums. Yeah, they one of the single that they released is called "Not Fair," and that's off of their album "Vacancy," which was released in 2016.
Crazy.
So I mean, and they had released, I think it was the year prior or the year after is when they released the acoustic record.
Oh, all right.
This is Acoustic 3. Yeah. So give it a shot if you guys ever want to listen to some Bayside. That's the way to go. Yeah.
Now, you're going to have to enlighten me for this next thing, man. The Undertaker retires. You had told me that he's done this before. What's going on with this?
He has done this 100 times. So one of the things about the Undertaker is he, for a long time, there was a record at WrestleMania. WrestleMania is like the Super Bowl of pro wrestling. Doesn't matter if you're a small time wrestling company, other promotions are going to go to the city where WrestleMania is being held at that year because that's their most profitable year. That's the most profitable time of the year because everybody who's a wrestling fan goes to this big event, right? It's just a big event. It's our Super Bowl weekend, right? The Undertaker was undefeated. He had gone 21-0 at WrestleMania since he started his career. And then right after that, when he had lost to Brock Lesnar, I mean, the only person that can beat him is Brock Lesnar, in my opinion. That dude's a freak. Genetics, right? He had wrestled again. He lost. And then after he lost the second time, which is a few years later, he put his gloves down in the middle of the ring and he took off. It kind of seemed like an homage of him retiring. It's like, right. Okay, he's done. He's riding off. And then he comes back. Vince McMahon says, "Yeah, I'm giving you more money. You got to come back." So I don't know. I mean, maybe this is true finally, but he's done this a couple of times. And I would think money talk, dude. I mean, I'm sure. But he's 52, I think. He's probably a little... Yeah, man, that dude.
I was going to say, man, because The Undertaker was a thing when I was into wrestling, in the late... Like a kid, in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, that's right. And he retired at Survivor Series, which was his... That's where he debuted. At a Survivor Series was his debut. So, Yeah. So I mean, it was bittersweet, but I didn't really. It didn't hit didn't strike a chord with me because he's done it before, But this time it kind of felt like it was the real thing. But we'll see.
We'll check it out, man. All right, man. Let's get to the last thing we're going to talk about today, and I think this is just kind of like a sad thing. But this week, or it was last week, but David Price. Well, anyway, the actor that played Darth Vader, the guy that was in the suit, passed away at 85.
Yeah.
It should be noted, if you ever get a chance to watch the behind the scenes of the Star Wars trilogy, they do show little snippets because he was like Scottish. He was like a Scottish bodybuilder. And he had lines, right? Because obviously the actors had to interact with him. So one of the things they talked about in that documentary was when they were making Star Wars, nobody on the crew thought it would do anything. They thought it was the dumbest thing ever. Because they're like, dude, what is this thing with Darth Vader? Why does he talk like that? Because he's like some weird Scottish guy in a suit. And then obviously the dude that played Chewbacca, Peter Mayhew, who I think passed away a few years ago, he's a tall British guy. So when they talk, there's lines, and to hear a weird Scottish voice come out of Darth Vader is hilarious. So if you get a chance, I think if you have Disney Plus, it's called Empire of Dreams. Look that up because they show little clips of it, and it's quite hilarious. But he certainly filled that suit well, and he will be missed, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen the behind the scenes documentary, and it is pretty funny when you listen to it because, I mean, when you listen to it, you kind of trip out, right? Because you're so used to listening to James Earl Jones, right? Yeah. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, man. It was anybody who grew up a Star Wars fan, definitely tugged on some heartstrings when you find out he passed away.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. May he rest in peace.
Yeah,
he's one with the Force now.
He is one with the Force.
All right, man. Should we explain a little bit about how we're going to do the playlists coming up?
Yeah, let's do it.
So before, I think going forward, we're going to try just making playlists of stuff that we're listening to. But I think going forward, we're going to keep the playlist up for a week. If you want to get clips of those songs, you should follow us on Instagram at halfstepdownpod. We'll be posting clips of all our songs. I might even do intros for a couple of them just to explain why we picked them. But we're still trying to figure all that stuff out. We're busy and trying to get through this whole podcasting thing. Oh my God, again, it's got him. I'm going to buy you a new set of headphones, man. I'm going to get you a set of headphones for Christmas. That one sounded like it hurt.
Yeah, that one hurt a little bit. Yeah.
So I was saying,
no pain, no gain, Jose.
That's right.
If we want to get to those 20 downloads,
20 down. We're gonna get you some decent headphones.
Yeah, I got to get myself some decent headphones. Absolutely.
So I was saying that we're gonna have these podcasts. Jesus Christ, we're gonna have these playlists up for about a week.
Again, dude. God damn it.
Trying to ignore it. So we're gonna have these playlists up for about a week. We'll play clips from them on our Instagram. So follow us at halfstepdownpod. I might even do intros to a couple of the songs, explaining why I picked them, what's going on. And then what I think we're gonna do is we'll transfer these onto a playlist, a separate one that kind of has like a master list. And at the end of every season, we'll restart the playlist and just kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Renee, you want to go through your songs and just talk a little bit about why you picked them, and I'll go through mine?
Sure, but as we're doing this show, my headphones have snapped 3 times. So if anybody's keeping count, I'm going to have 3 bruises on my face, on the side of my ear, in a couple of days. But that's besides the point. So, anyways, the songs that I picked was "Wasting Time, Eternal Summer" by 4 Years Strong, "Breakless" and "Out on My Feet" by the Wonder Years, obviously, "Kyoto" by Phoebe Bridgers, "Freak on a Leash" by Korn.
There you go.
And "I Don't Care" by the Early November. And I think that's all I had today. Or am I tripping? Oh no, and I also picked up Mustang. I also picked Mustang by Barty Strange. So Barty Strange and Phoebe Bringers are a couple of new musicians / bands that I've listened to. In my opinion, dude, I think that rock and roll is heading towards the Barty Strange side of music. I don't know if it's a good thing, it's a bad thing. I enjoyed the song Mustang. I haven't heard a lot of Barty's. I haven't heard a lot of them, but of Barty Strange. But I like what I've heard, and I feel that now things are kind of moving a certain direction in music right now, and I really like where they're heading, where they're taking rock and roll music, in my opinion. Phoebe Bringers, I think, is just somebody or Phoebe Bridgers, I'm sorry, is somebody that I think is definitely going to. Obviously, she's been nominated for Grammy for Best Performance, but I do like where she's headed. I really do enjoy that. The Wonder Years, Breakless and Not on My Feet. Pretty interesting stories on why I chose these two. So the Wonder Years are celebrating two albums that are turning 10 years old this year, or one turned 10 years old this year. The other one turning 10 years old next year. They're a year apart. The Upside and Suburbia, I've given you All Now I'm Nothing. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic, they're not able to do anything for it. So they recorded. They went back, and Dan Campbell of the Wonder Years had a lot of old. I saw an interview. He's a lot of old, like voice memos and stuff, and he found these two that one was specific for the Upsides and the other one was specific for Suburbia. And so he said, why don't we go back and try to capture what we did during the Upsides and make this song fit like it belonged on the Upside. And then this, which is Breakless. And then Out on My Feet was one that they said this song sounds like it would belong on Suburbia. So I've been listening to those two. Out on My Feet just came out a couple days ago. Breakless has been out for a little bit. The Wonder Years is just, it's just what I'm into.
Yeah.
I love, the fact that they're coming out with new stuff. It kind of sucks because I try to get their 10-year anniversary box set, and they sold out in minutes.
Oh, man.
And I've never experienced that before. I go, how does this sell out in minutes? So that's unfortunate. But I think I was able to pre-order. My girlfriend was going to try to pick it up for me for Christmas, and she said, hey, they sold out. And I was like, oh, what a bummer.
Oh,
so I think they're doing pre-orders, but the problem with that is that they come out in April. So it's like, well, it's worth it. I'll probably end up picking it up anyways. But yeah.
Nice. You had another song on there. Was this an accident? Because I was really excited. Double Whiskey, Coke, No Ice.
I think that was an accident.
That was an accident. Okay.
Yeah, that was an accident.
Okay, well, yeah. I'll let you know right now. That's one of my all-time favorite songs. I'm like, oh my God, I'm rubbing off on you a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Not yet, I guess.
I'll talk about that one real quick because I thought you picked them. Like, oh man, you stole my thunder. But Double Whiskey, Coke, No Ice by the Dillinger 4, all one word. It's just a great punk rock drinking song about getting drunk in a basement somewhere. Little weird story about that song. It is rumored that the singer from Dillinger 4 got money to open his bar, which I think closed down this year, because this song, the riff is basically American Idiot, and that Green Day basically stole the riff from them.
We've talked about that before. Yeah.
And the riff is very similar. Like it's very, very close, but a great drinking song. Let me go through my picks. I picked Dare to Be Stupid by Weird Al Yankovic. Theme from Cheers by Titus Andronicus. Don't Think Twice by Mike Ness of Social D fame. Telepathic Love by Wipers. Baby I'm an Anarchist by Against Me. Everything Sucks by The Descendants. And then Eternity with You. The Gillian, I forgot his last name. And it's not scrolling, but it's off the Adventure Time BMO mixtape soundtrack that came out, I want to say a couple months ago. So I picked Dare to Be Stupid. Me and a friend of mine did a live stream of covers just for shits and giggles because we're bored. We both tested for COVID before, so we knew it was safe to get together. And we did a cover of Dare to Be Stupid because it was fun. You might know that song. It's a Weird Al original in the style of Devo. So check it out. Theme from Cheers. If you've not heard of Titus Andronicus, they're a great little punk rock band out of the Midwest, or maybe East Coast. Their album, The Monitor, is based off kind of like the Civil War. It's got a whole Civil War theme. And this is just another great punk rock drinking song. Don't Think Twice, Mike Ness's cover of a Bob Dylan classic. Telepathic Love by Wipers is kind of a lo-fi kind of punk rock sound to it.
I love Wipers too. I was actually really excited you chose Wipers.
That was a great song.
I'm a big fan of Wipers. Yeah.
Baby I'm an Anarchist by Against Me. This is from the Reinventing Axl Rose. This is early in their career. It's a great kind of acoustic fuck you song. It just sounds like a bunch of people screaming, but I love this song. Everything Sucks by The Descendants, from when they came back with the Everything Sucks album.
That classic album, I think, is how they hit the mainstream too. I think in the 90s. What was it, 96?
I think, yeah. So the Descendants are interesting, right? They kind of laid down the groundwork for what would become pop punk and kind of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Then they disappeared for a while because their singer went off and became a scientist. And then they have their other band, the sister band, All, who unfortunately, despite basically being the Descendants with different singers, I guess not. I mean, this is a common tale, right? You replace a singer, they never quite reached the heights that the Descendants did. And yeah, when the Descendants came back with Everything Sucks, you know, all the bands that were popular, you know, your Blink-182s, your Green Days, a lot of them owe a lot to the Descendants, kind of laying that groundwork for melodic, kind of like great poppy hooks in punk rock songs. But yeah, man, they really hit new heights with that. And now they're back.
I remember seeing. Yeah, they just released a single too, didn't they?
They released a couple songs,
I think.
Milo Ackerman,
a couple songs, right? Yeah.
Their singer did a couple songs on ukulele solo, and then the Descendants recorded those songs full band status.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I think to me there's a couple of different stages of the Descendants, and you have Milo Goes to College and Everything Sucks. Like that's kind of where you start your history on the Descendants.
Yeah, if you're gonna go and kind of boil it down, those are kind of like the two eras, because you had Milo Goes to College, and then they released like Enjoy and like Live Age, and then there was Cool to Be You. No, Cool to Be You was when they came back in the 2000s.
Yeah, when they came back after.
Coolidge is the one I was talking about. Or is that the name of the song? Oh, All. So yeah, they had an album called All. They had like 4 or 5 albums that came out when they were like their first iteration in the early 80s. Milo left, came back with Everything Sucks. Then he left again, and then they came back with Cool to Be You, and their latest album, Hypercaffeum Spazzinate, I believe is the name of the album. It's a great album.
It must be great to just like jump around like that. You know what I mean? Like he goes, I'm tired of the science thing. Let's go back to the music.
Well, you know, and that's the thing. Like that in my life, when I was kind of wanting to do music as a job, it was Milo from the Descendants, Greg from Bad Religion, where I find out that these guys have like careers outside of music, and music is just like the fun part. So Greg Graffin, the singer of Bad Religion's also a professor at UCLA. He's got a doctorate, and so does Milo Ackerman. And what's the name of the guy from The Offspring? Dexter Holland. He just got his he just got his PhD. So it's like you can do both, and that was a big influence for me. So yeah, that's awesome. Great stuff. And then the last two, Eternity with You, I talked about from the BMO, and then The Art of Partying by Municipal Waste. Art of Partying by Municipal Waste is the all-time great party thrash metal song. Put it on if you want to get really drunk and break stuff. And then Eternity with You is just a fun little like electronic pop song from Adventure Time.
I thought Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit was the all-time Break Stuff song.
This is one that you can be not embarrassed to listen to.
Oh, okay. On that note, my last 2 songs that I chose was Freak on a Leash by Korn.
Mhm.
The reason I chose Freak on a Leash by Korn was because you ever gotten to like the rabbit hole of YouTube? Like you just keep going, you just hit the next button and you get sent to something else.
Many a time.
So I started on a System of a Down live performance, and then I went to a different live performance, and then I went to something else, and then it 3-4 hours later, I'm at a documentary of the rise and fall and rise again of Korn. And I realized, man, like this band had it rough, dude. You know what I mean? Like these guys were a mess for a while, and then they had to. I don't know if you know much about the band, but the amount of drugs that these guys would do on part, like alcohol and stuff, like these guys were like Aerosmith for new metal, like the Aerosmith of new metal. It was insane
for a generation.
It was insane. Yeah. So I just kind of went back and hit my old teenager roots, my middle school roots, and wanted to listen to some new metal. And then I realized, I've kind of outgrown all this. And then I went from Korn to like Limp Bizkit to essentially Korn and Limp Bizkit and like Stained and shit. And I kind of remember listening, like Freak on a Leash was kind of the first song that really got me involved in the new metal scene. And then I grew up and I listened to, I think we talked about this, right? Like the evolution of what new metal became, and that was At the Drive-In and Thursday and all those bands. And what was it, Deftones, right?
Yeah,
Deftones.
I feel like At the Drive-In and stuff like that kind of went in a different direction.
Yes.
It's almost like they were anti that. They're like, I don't want to really go in that route, because by that time, new metal had almost become like a parody of itself. Like, people are going to wonder, there was a random noise. I was trying to click a window because I had a YouTube. I was reading something off of YouTube and I accidentally clicked play on the video. So you got 1 second of a random YouTube video. I apologize for that.
We are going to be flagged because of you.
Yeah, probably. Is it less than 1 second though? And it wasn't music related. It's like, what is this? So I clicked away from it. All right, man. Good show, I think.
I got one more. Sorry, I got one more.
You got one more?
I'm sorry. I got I Don't Care by the Early November.
Oh, that's
which is
right.
one that Yes, I was playing the guitar a couple days. You ever like mess around with the guitar and then you realize, oh my God, that sounds like a song that I know, and you keep playing it over and over and over again. You're like, oh man, that's that one song. Yeah. And then you end up trying to learn how to play it. That's how I've been listening to I Don't Care by the Early November.
Nice.
It's not because I'm an Early November fan. It just happens to be that the winners in the Early November are on the same playlist this time. But it's just because I was playing the guitar and I was like, this sounds like a song. What is it? And then I learned it after, like I heard the song over and over again. I was like, oh, I think I know it. So I ended up playing it.
Well, I've said it many a time. It would not be Half Step Down if we did not talk about the Wonder Years in the early November. It is kind of a tradition.
Yeah, it is a tradition now. Yeah. Yeah, man, that was that's a lot of I enjoy it. That's a lot of fun. Let's see how the audience likes our banter.
Let's see it.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. So now now that we're not going to be doing weekly recommendations, because we do recommendations for the week already. I guess you can say we do, but in the form of a playlist, right? Yeah. We're still keeping the playlist, just changing it a little bit. So this is our final segment of the show where we'd like to talk about something outside of what we already talked about, and that is the wind down. Jose, do you remember the worst drive-thru employee we've ever come across?
I remember the experience, but I don't remember the details. You gotta remind me.
So I was at your house. We were just hanging out, and then we had decided to go get dinner. We had decided to get dinner, right? So Marta was with the kids, and like, hey, we're gonna go get Popeyes, because I think we had talked about how I have never tried the Popeyes chicken sandwich, right? Because that was at the time where everything was being sold out everywhere. So I finally was like, all right, let's go. So we went to the drive-thru. And when we went, there was a young woman who was kind enough to help us out. And this is how she sounded. See if I can get this right. I don't know if I can do it, dude, because she was very depressed. But I'm going to try my hardest. Okay? I need you to order food, though, okay? Because if you don't do it, it's not going to work. Jose, you ready? Here you go.
All right.
Welcome to Popeyes. Can I help you?
Yeah, can I get 2 of the chicken sandwich meals and a kids meal, please?
Anything else?
Can I get a drink?
What kind of drink?
Dr. Pepper.
Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
All right, 2217. Thank you. And I can't. And the worst part about that is that I can't explain to you how much worse it was from that.
Yeah, it was a weird
Do you
experience.
remember how bad? It was a very weird experience, and we were laughing, and I think she heard us laughing,
Yeah.
and she just started laughing with us, and she still sounded depressed, like she was over it.
You know what? It must have been because this was at the time when the Popeyes chicken sandwich was like the thing, and people were sitting in line and reselling the sandwich. So she was just probably tired of all these dumb idiots trying to get this dumb sandwich, and she was just like, "I'm over it."
Yeah, it's all right.
There's nothing like fast food or retail to really, really suck the life out of you.
I can only. I worked at an Arby's for about 6 months, and I didn't mind it. But then again, I'm just that. I like to think I'm a pretty happy dude. You know what I mean? People used to like to go see. It was funny though. I remember there was a time where I was cleaning the inside of the dining room at the Arby's, and I went up to this couple. I said, "Are you guys doing well?" I said, "Can I get you guys anything? Any more napkins? Like, you guys good?" She goes, "Yeah, we're good, thank you." So I walked back, and then about 10 minutes later, "You guys still doing well?" I said, "Just if you guys need anything, holler. You know, my name's Renee, and I'm here for you." And they said, Can we just tell you something?" "Sure." I said, "We're going to tell your manager that you are an amazing employee." I said, "Thank you. That means a lot to me. Like, we've been coming here for like 10 years, and we're so happy. You know, we're happy to know that, you know, it's hard to like what you do." And I said, "I appreciate that." And I took off, and they took off, and then I mentioned, "Hey man, like, they really hyped you up over there." I said, "Oh, thanks, man." They're like, "Just to let you know, we've only been open 4 years." I said, "Wow, thanks for shitting on my on my good compliment." Yeah.
Oh my god.
So that was a rough one.
What a dick.
Jose, do you have yeah, that's what she said. Jose, do you have some plugs for us?
Yeah, man, let's get through this. All right, guys. So if you want to find out everything about us, or basically just a one-stop shop for everything, you can always go to halfstepdownpod.com. As we mentioned earlier, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We are at halfstepdownpod. Facebook.com. Go to facebook.com/halfstepdownpod if you want to find us there. We have a YouTube channel. You go to YouTube, look up Half Step Down Pod in the YouTube search bar, and it'll come up. All the songs we talked about are going to be on a Spotify playlist. The link will be in the description of this episode. If you like what you hear, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you like what you hear, please spread the word. Use hashtag HalfStepDownPod. And of course, you can listen to TitanRadio.org every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time for Half Step Down Radio. That's Renee's weekly radio show where he plugs the show and plays some good music.
A lot of Wonder Years in early November, apparently.
It wouldn't be Half Step Down without.
Yeah. They do play Half Step Down, so you got to stick to it.
It's all on theme.
All on theme, baby. All on. And by the way, that's the first time I've said baby on this podcast.
There it is.
I'm not gonna say anything.
There. Well, Jose, it was wonderful talking to you as always. We will see each other soon. Hopefully, this all blows over soon, quickly, so that way we can hang out and be able to do this together, you know, in the same room.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Have yourselves a wonderful night, and we will talk. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Yeah, give it up for this guy. Promise you guys.
Just so we're all clear, that was not like a real song. Okay. Made that up.
Oh shit.
Oh man.
Oh, dude, I'm crying. You made me cry. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should say that the funniest reaction I've ever seen to something so simple. Like